Hi everyone and welcome to Leah's Cross Stitch Corner. This is FlossTube number 11 and today I thought I would talk about a little bit about cross stitching and how it helps my mental health. Summer is quite obviously having a really difficult day here so far. She's lying with me today. Thought I'd give her a bit of a starring role rather than a directorial role, but she has decided that she wants to sleep instead. Good girl. She got a t-shirt on. It says always sassy, and you know, never has a truer t-shirt been worn by anybody. She is very, very sassy. She might not look it now. She looks very chilled out and relaxed, but she's very sassy. So be aware that obviously this might be a bit of a triggering kind of subject. I am going to talk about mental health, anxiety, depression. It's a little bit of a story time, to be honest. You know, I don't have anything to show off today. It's just going to be a bit of a relaxing, just a bit of a relaxing talk about mental health, cross-stitching, how it helps, what my mental health journey's been like a little bit, how the cross-stitching affects it, and you know, Summer's here as a comfort dog. So if you're feeling a bit poor, Summer's here to make you feel better. So my mental health journey has been quite a ride. I've been suffering with my mental health probably for a really long time before I even realised what it was, to be completely honest. I suffer with anxiety and depression mostly. It was really the start of 2020 that I realised what it actually was. Before then, I just thought maybe I'm just dramatic. You know, you're led to believe because you suffer from anxiety that you're being dramatic about it. I once had a panic attack at work, a full-blown knockdown panic attack. I had to get off the till. I worked at Asda at the time. I had to get off the till, run to the toilet, lock myself in the toilet, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do anything. And you know, long story short, I didn't even bother to send me home. I literally had to go back on the till, and that was terrible. It was dreadful. Like, I was all panicky, I was flustered, I was upset. It was terrible. It was honestly dreadful. And you know, I'm a big believer in speaking about your mental health. I think it's really important, and that's why I'm doing this video today, of course. You shouldn't ever be made to suffer alone, you know. I apologise for the weird angle, by the way. I'm trying to like relax. And Summer's here, so I'm trying to cuddle her, so my arm looks huge. I look weirdly angled, but it's all good. It's all good, isn't it? Our mum's gone out to Chester today, so she's spending the day with me. Well, yeah, the morning anyway. I speak very freely about my mental health, actually. You know, I think it's really important to. I think there's still a lot of stigma around mental health, and you know, it's like a sign of weakness to speak about depression or anxiety, or even seeking help for depression and anxiety. But I disagree entirely. I think it's really important to speak about it. I'll be honest, since 2020 I've been on quite a journey. I spent the first half of 2020 on... I was on sertraline for a couple of years, actually. It wasn't the first half of 2020. But I started sertraline in 2020, and I came off it January last year, so January 2022, and I'm all the better for it. I needed it at the time, and it did what it needed to do at the time. You know, I went through a lot of hardship. Then when I met Graham, we still went through a bit of hardship. I mean, my dad passed away in July of 2021. So, like, I'd been talking at that point about stopping the sertraline anyway. But I was like, I'll just wait. I know my dad's going to pass away. I know that's going to be a really difficult time for me. I'll keep on taking it just in the meantime, just to keep me at a good level, just so that I don't have any issues. But then I came off it in January 2022, like I said. And cross-stitching is a big part of that. Graham is a big part of that. Graham's helped my mental health no end. He's so understanding, you know. He saw what I was like, you know. Before I met him, I'd done a lot of learning. I learned who I was, you know. I became okay with myself. I spent the first half of 2020 self-medicating with alcohol. Turns out that's not a very good plan. And by the time I met Graham, I'd kind of like weaned myself off and stopped drinking to excess. And I only have like one. We both have a drink on a night. Graham has a whiskey or a rum or a tequila or a bourbon, and I have a vodka with mixer. And that's all I need. I don't need any more than that. I don't want any more than that, which I'm quite proud of myself for. And you might be wondering, Leah, is this going to get to cross stitching at any point? It is. It is. I'm just setting the scene. What can I say? I'm setting the scene. And I think, like I say, it's important to talk about it. So this video is partly about cross stitch, but it's partly about mental health, and it's very important to discuss, I think. So I started cross stitching. It must have been just after my dad passed, to be honest. I remember it was like the autumn time of 2021. And I don't suffer as badly with my anxiety or depression anymore. Mostly any anxiety I have now is work related. So I work for a call centre, and the anticipation of waiting for calls can be quite nerve-wracking. It's weird because I know how to do my job. I can do my job quite well. I can do my job, you know, blindfolded with my eyes closed. They're the same thing. Blindfolded with my hands tied behind my back kind of thing. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm doing. But the anticipation of the call sometimes makes me quite anxious. So I cross stitch. When I'm at work, I have a cross stitch on the go. So that, like, at any point when I'm just chatting away, or we get any quiet time, I cross stitch. And, you know, it's really, really helpful. Obviously, it's not something you can do with any old job. If I was back out working in a shop, for example, I wouldn't be able to cross stitch. But because I work from home, and we do get a little bit of quiet time between the calls, on a good day, I get to sit and cross stitch, and that helps my anxiety when I'm at work. That's where I suffer it the most, to be completely honest. I get it really badly on a Sunday night, for example. Not even before, I mean, like, I'm talking about when I go to sleep. So when I settle down on a Sunday to go to sleep, I get anxious. And I don't always sleep very well on a Sunday night, and I don't know why. It's one of those inexplicable anxieties, because I'm not dreading work. You know, it's a quite relatively easy job, all things considered. It can be a bit repetitive at times. You know, you're talking to a lot of people and you've got to be thinking, you've got to be on the ball for quite a lot of it, which is very difficult for me. I am very easily distracted. But it's something that I've worked through. Some nights on a Sunday, it's absolutely fine. I go to sleep, no problem. Some nights it just causes chaos and I don't really sleep. And then the whole day is a bit of a wreck because, like, I'm trying to work and be on top of things and the anxiety's kicking my bum. So I just spend my time cross-stitching when I get a spare minute. And why I find cross-stitching so therapeutic, told you I was going to bring it back on topic, is the repetitive nature of it. You know, there's something very soothing about sitting, watching a show. I'm currently watching 90 Day Fiancé, Before the 90 Days. Alright. I love it, just so you know. Absolutely love it. It's really, really good. So just stick a show on. So I have Wednesdays off and I stick a show on, get me cross stitch out, and just the repetitive nature of just doing the little crosses, watching something come to life essentially, is really, really fun. I really enjoy it. Are you tired? You know, I tend to not go for anything that's overly complicated. I've talked before about how I've stopped doing things because they've just been a little bit too complicated. I don't do cross-stitching to get anxious. I don't do cross-stitching to wind myself up with it being too difficult. I like it to be that relaxing time. So, like, I'm just enjoying it. I like to enjoy my cross-stitch, more or less. And, you know, just having the repetitive nature of doing the crosses. So you go da 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 da, and then you come back the other way. It's you know, you don't have to think too hard. You don't have to put too much effort into it. Now I do, because I quite like to make it look nice, but you know, it doesn't give me any stress. It doesn't give me any anxiety. It just helps me to relax. And if I'm feeling anxious at any point, I'll just sit, center myself. It sounds very hippy-dippy, I know. And then just focus on what I'm doing. So I'll bring out a favourite cross stitch and I'll just crack on with it. And the repetitive nature of it and seeing something come to life and, you know, knowing that I've actually been the one to do it is really, really cool. Like, I just love to look around the room, even if I'm feeling anxious, and just look at something that I have cross-stitched and be like, oh wow, I did that. I spent my time on that. I did that. And we've hung it in our bedroom so we can look at it, and it looks really lovely. It's really, it makes you a lot more mindful, I think, when you're cross-stitching. You've got to be in the moment. Like, it is an easy thing. Cross-stitching is very easy to do, but if you want to do it right, you know, you've got to make sure that you're putting it in the right holes. It sounds so wrong. You've got to make sure that you are keeping the tension right, and that you're not, like, getting any weird, like sometimes when you pull the thread up, it comes through and splits a previous stitch. Gotta make sure it doesn't do that. I do anyway, because it drives me absolutely up the wall. So you've got to, like, be aware of what you're doing. You know, it isn't a mindless activity. I've spent so much time doing mindless activities where I haven't really appreciated them. Where with cross stitch, I find that I take a lot of time to make it look nice. You know, I enjoy to I've lost my train of thought. I enjoy the simple task of doing a bit of backstitching. It's a pain, don't get me wrong, backstitching, I don't think anybody loves it. But, like, to see a before picture when you finish your cross stitch and then do the backstitching afterwards and seeing the difference, such a satisfying feeling. You know, and I could see how that would probably help the depression if I was still suffering. Thankfully, I'm not. I don't really have too many down days. It's really, really nice that I've managed to overcome a lot of things. But I can imagine if I was having a down day, that seeing something come to life would look really amazing and probably just cheer me up a little bit. It's not going to cure anything. You know, cross-stitching is not a cure-all for resolving mental health issues. I'm not advocating that it is, but I do think that it's really helpful. You know, I think even it doesn't have to be cross-stitching either. You can do embroidery, diamond painting. My sister does these punch kit things. I don't really understand, to be honest. I don't know how it works. It looks really cool. It's a really good effect, but I don't actually know how it works. Oh, I know. It's exhausting, isn't it? So, you know, my mental health journey's been that. It's been a journey. It's been, like, a wild few years. I came off the sertraline, like I said, in January of 2022. So I've been off the meds, if you will, for like a year and a half now, 18 months. No, like 20 months or something, I think. And I wasn't sure at first if I'd come off them and have to go straight back on. You know, I didn't know how it was going to affect me. I didn't know what it was going to do. But it's been really enlightening. You know, cross stitch isn't what, I'm loath to say fix me. I'm not fixed. I wasn't broken. But cross stitch is one of those things that helps. I tend a lot of the time to take on new activities, new hobbies. You know, I go through hobbies sometimes, like some people go through men. I don't know. That was really rude. I don't mean that. Oh my gosh, I don't mean that. But you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I go through hobbies like some people go through hot dinners. We'll stick with that one. And I apologise. I wasn't meaning to, like, shame people. I don't care who goes out with who. Do I? Nobody cares. Do live your best life. Isn't that right? Yeah. She's very interested, as you can tell. I'm probably going to get hated for saying that. I apologise. I didn't. Why was that the first thing that came to mind? I don't know. But I don't even know where I was going with it. Oh, yeah. I remember. Sorry, I'm distracted. Someone keeps distracting me. I blame her. Yeah, I started doing Lego, and then kind of, like, it got away from me. I kind of, like, was obsessed. I used to get, like, hyper fixated on, like, a hobby, do it for, like, weeks at a time, and then never do it again. So I got into Lego, built a few things, Old Trafford, the bookshop, some other bits, and then bought a whole bunch of other Lego and never did it. I ended up selling it. Yeah, it was like, And I was like, I bought it all when I was going through a bad time, so I was like, I don't really want that as a reminder. So I might come back to Lego in the future as a hobby, because I did enjoy it. It was really fun. You know, I go through phases where I play games like Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley. Love Stardew Valley. Love Animal Crossing. And then I just won't play it for months. Pokemon Go. I've got a new one. It's Monopoly Go. Please, by all means, play it. It's so much fun. You just like basically go around a Monopoly board. You build landmarks and stuff, and people can come and rob your bank and knock your landmarks down. It's really cool. And then I'll play it for like a few weeks intensely, and then just not play it for months. What can I say? But cross stitch is the one that stuck around. I did try embroidery, but it's not really for me. It's a bit too, like, embroidery. With cross stitch, you use a pattern to build a picture. With embroidery, oh sorry, my eyes feel really weird. Someone's made me feel tired because she's asleep. With embroidery, there's a lot more freedom. I don't like freedom. I like to know what I'm doing, and there's too much chaos in embroidery. I'm no good at all of the stitches, I'll be honest. I did one embroidery. It was like a printed on one, and it looked really nice, and you know, I did lots of French knots, but didn't work for me. I started embroidery first, believe it or not, and did that like plant one, like I was saying, and I bought a couple of cross stitch bits in the meantime, and I was like, I think I'll prefer embroidery for no other reason. Sorry, I know, I apologise. You're all sleepy and it's making me tired. So I did embroidery first, and I bought a couple of cross stitch bits. One was just embroidery masquerading as cross stitch, and I was a little bit dismissive of cross stitch at first. I was like, I don't know if I'll get away with that. But it turns out once I did the cross stitch, I was like, oh, I'm never going back to embroidery. Embroidery is too difficult. It asks for me to do too much. It gives me too much freedom. I don't like freedom. I just want to build pretty pictures. So cross stitch is where I've stayed ever since, and I've been doing it for like 2 years now, and I don't know, it's the best hobby I've ever had. I wish I'd gotten into it sooner. You know, I can imagine that if I'd gotten into it in early 2020 when I first started like having really bad anxiety and starting on my tablets and stuff, maybe it would have helped. I think it really would have helped, because it would have given me something to focus on. You know, I used to work night shift 4 nights a week and get 3 days off, and I would just waste my days off. I would honestly just waste them. I would just like nap, watch something on Netflix, have food, nap, watch something on Netflix, have food, nap, and just like, it was just really repetitive. I didn't actually do anything productive. Like, I used to have 3 days off. I do now, actually. I can't have you on here all the time. You make me way too sleepy. Baby. And I kind of kick myself, because I'm like, well, you could have had a much more productive hobby. I could have done so much more with my time. I could have done so much more with the free time that I had. You know, bizarrely enough, doing 4 days on night shift is not the same as doing 4 days in a normal job, like a 9 to 5 job. A half 8-5. I do half 8-5 because I don't get paid for my lunch or my breaks. I don't get paid for any of it. When you do night shift, you know, you get some of that day to yourself, because you don't obviously sleep till right until when you go to work again, and then you get like 4 full days. You get 3 nights off, but it's like 4 days essentially. It makes sense in my head, and anybody who's ever done night shift will understand what I'm talking about. You have a lot more free time. You know, working half 8-5 and then trying to sleep for 9 hours, because I could do night shift on a few hours sleep. It's not a problem. I cannot do this job on a few hours sleep. I need my full 8 to 9 hours, because it's not the full 8 to 9 hours. I don't get that. Yeah, I went on a bit of a tangent there, didn't I? Yeah, I wish I was more productive when I did night shift. It would have been a lot better. I would have, you know, imagine the cross stitches I could have done in that time. Whereas, you know, oh, hey lad, I cannot, you, Baba, honestly, You're making me very sleepy. I want to go have a nap. I would have been so much more productive. But a lot of the fun in the cross stitches is I do them for Graham, or I do them for us. So that wouldn't have really worked because obviously I didn't have Graham at the beginning of 2020. I meant in October 2020. Coming up to our 3-year anniversary soon, we're going to Scarborough. Ooh, yeah. And then we're going to Glasgow to see City in Colour. So we go to Scarborough on the 25th, 5 nights. Then we come home for a day or two, and then we go up to Glasgow to see City in Colour. And for any people who know me, you know I love like sitcoms. Frasier's my favourite. We're staying at the Frasier Suites in Glasgow. I was very impressed with that. So yeah, to get back to my point, to summarise, you know, first off, it's very important to talk about your mental health. I hope people think that's okay for me to do that here in my little safe space on my little corner of the internet. Hope people enjoy this video. And, you know, cross-stitching really does help with that. When I'm at work and feel a bit anxious, I have a cup of tea. Well, I have a cup of tea in the winter. I've stopped having them in the summer, and I kind of miss my cups of tea. I miss having my little flask upstairs to have a cup of tea when I fancy. So, you know, that helps to calm me down as well when I'm feeling a bit anxious at work. But the cross-stitching really helps, you know. It's because it means that I'm not focusing on waiting for a call. I'm focusing on the cross-stitch, because you can't do both. If I'm working on my cross-stitch, I kind of forget I'm at work, and that really, really helps. So, you know, crafts can be very therapeutic. They can be very relaxing. They can help you feel less anxious. Probably do make you feel less depressed. Like I say, I don't suffer massively with my depression anymore. Sorry, did I wake you up? And, you know, I'm very proud of myself. I've come really, really far in a really short space of time to actually feel a lot better. I'll always talk about mental health. Doesn't bother me. I might even do like a little series on it where like once every few months I just talk about it a little bit. I like to waffle. Graham said yesterday, like, how long was your video for that's going up, that went up last week? And I was like, 25 minutes. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I was just talking. You know, when I'm talking here, it's like I'm talking to friends, you know, and I'm talking to people who probably go through the same things I go through, who might be able to relate, and, you know, I like to waffle. So I'm going to leave it there. If you enjoyed my waffling about mental health and relating it to cross-stitch, let me know. If you want to leave a comment, leave it down below. Give us a big thumbs up if you liked it. A big paw up. Hooray! And my director and I will see you next week. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, please do. I post new content every Wednesdays at midday. Summer will always be in them in some way, shape or form. Today I thought, because I'm just having a little casual chat, I'll just get her on the chair with me and she just have a nap. She's being a good girl. But mostly she hangs out on the bed because usually I'm showing stuff off her, moving my hands around, and she doesn't like to be interrupted. Do you, Petal? Oh, no. And we're going to go and clean the guinea pigs now, aren't we? I should have them on for one video. I should really bring them up just so I can like show them off. But it's tricky because Summer will probably eat them. Summer is the sweetest, most docile dog you'll ever likely meet. She really is. When she gets to bed on a night, she just flops and you can do anything with her and she's just not bothered. Not that we do, to be fair. Just in case anybody thinks, what the heck are they doing with the dog? We don't. But like we bring her up for a cuddle and she's just like, and it's just so cute. But she doesn't really get on with the guinea pigs. She used to be terrible with them. She used to like, once, because obviously we didn't always live together, obviously, because I only just met when, you know, moved in not long after we met. She used to come over to my house and she would like get really obsessed with them. She's like be really, really obsessed. So I had to put them in the bedroom because I was like, I'll just take them upstairs because they're distracting her and she doesn't like them. They're winding her up even though they're not doing anything. They're just existing. They're just being guineas. And once we moved in, we were still moving stuff from my house over here and Summer came over to mine and I had 2 cages set up together and I moved them into the one cage to bring them over here and Summer actually got in the cage. That was so funny. But like she doesn't like them. She doesn't like them. And we think if she was to get into the kitchen, like when I'm cleaning them, I take them out the cage and put them in a little pen that I've got for them. If I was to if someone was to get in there with them, she would probably eat one. She'd probably kill it. So we keep them separate. So it proves a bit tricky to bring a guinea pig up to show them off. I have 4. Cardi, Silky, Fluffy and Biscuit. I love them. They're so cute. They're such little characters. I'd love to come and show them off. I've got guinea pig cross stitches to do as well. I love them. So yeah, those are our pets. I just like to add little random bits on the end of my videos. You know what I'm like? I go to say bye and then I get distracted. What are we gonna do, eh? I don't know. We're gonna clean the guinea pigs. I'm gonna start a new cross stitch. How's that sound? She's not bothered. So, when you say bye, say bye bye. Oh, put your ear right. There we go. So say bye bye. Just move the camera over. There we go. Oh, sweetheart. She's living her best life. So have a lovely week, gang. Let me know what you thought of the video. I hope you really liked it. And I will see you next week. Bye.